Do you ever just walk out of a movie and have no idea what to say? What's up, everybody? It's Nick from the Lost River Drive-In here to give you the second review of the other major movie that came out this weekend, the memeable Barbenheimer. Wasn't just Barbie, it was also Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. Now, as of recording this video, both of these movies are crushing studio expectations for the weekend, which is honestly good for all of us. It's good for film. It's good for these actors. I'm very, very happy to see both of these movies doing well. But you could not see two tonally different movies in one weekend than you get with Barbie and Oppenheimer. And trying to unpack Oppenheimer, I feel like would be doing a disservice to the movie itself. I know a lot of you guys haven't seen it yet or are waiting for IMAX. I know a lot of people are waiting for IMAX, so I'm not going to get into spoilers. I'm going to kind of give you guys my thoughts on the movie and parse out what I liked about it and what I didn't. But this is a movie that is a genuinely incredible experience that I feel like everybody should see on the biggest screen possible. So Oppenheimer was written and directed by Christopher Nolan, and it stars people such as Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Josh Hartnett, Josh Peck, Jack Quaid. A lot of people are in this movie. You'll be watching this movie and you'll be going, Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh. It's a who's who in Hollywood in this movie. Everybody wants to work with Christopher Nolan. It's quite obvious. And basically, the movie is a biopic in ways about J. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb. And it kind of takes us from the late 1920s, early 1930s, all the way up until post-World War II and into the Cold War. And the movie kind of jumps back and forth between decades and certain years as you're piecing together certain moments. You see something play out in, the 1940s, and then you go forward 10 years or so to the fallout from that. And it kind of goes back and forth like that throughout the movie. Now, if you guys know anything about Oppenheimer, aside from what its, basic premise is about, it's 3 hours long. It is a very historically accurate movie. And this movie, although it's Nolan, this is a character study. This is not an action movie. If you're going into this movie going, oh my God, IMAX, 3 hours long, Christopher Nolan, this is going to be The Dark Knight. No, it is nothing like that movie. And I think that it's better because of that. I think there's only one way you can address this source material, and I think that Christopher Nolan did it justice. So as I said, the cast is top notch, and the acting from all of them is just incredible. This is, in my opinion, from the performances I've seen, Cillian Murphy's best performance. This is up there for Robert Downey Jr. as one of his best performances. This might be Josh Hartnett's best performance. I mean, it's just loaded. I've never been a big Florence Pugh fan. I thought she was great in this movie. Emily Blunt is great in this movie. I mean, everybody that's in this movie is great. There isn't a single person that I feel like doesn't deliver. There's multiple Halloween 2018 alumni in this movie, which I thought was really cool. We got Aaron the podcaster and Cameron, the douchey boyfriend. They're both in this movie and they're both great. They both are great in this movie for what they're doing. So that is awesome. The set design, the scope of this movie. If there's one thing you know about Christopher Nolan, he's going to bring it visually. He always brings it. You're never going to have to question whether a Christopher Nolan movie is going to look incredible. The sound design, it's all there. The sound design in this movie is deafening at times, and it's meant to be that way. It really builds up this tension, and it really makes you... You're almost kind of putting yourself in Oppenheimer's shoes at times. And it's just, the way he accentuates that with the music is just brilliant. As I said, the scope of this, although this isn't an action movie, the wide shots and the sweeping shots and just these barren wastelands of that you get on camera that just morph into bomb testing sites or a new town or whatever it might be. It's just, the scope of this movie is huge. I mean, it is just beautiful to look at. It is absolutely beautiful to look at. The moment in this movie that I think a lot of people are going to be talking about is the Trinity test sequence. And this is in the trailers, guys, and obviously this is a historical biopic, so this isn't a spoiler. We know this happened. And it is the testing of the atomic bomb before they gave the okay for the bombs to be mass produced and then sent out and used in World War II on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And the Trinity test sequence is pulse pounding. Never have I ever sat, I mean, I don't know if a movie's ever even tried to do this, but sat in suspense waiting for a bomb test to go off, where I know nothing is going to go wrong, where I know historically what happened, but I'm sitting here waiting for a test. And it's the music, it's the jump cutting from person to person, it's the way the shots are framed very up close and personal in people's faces. Everything about the Trinity test sequence is one of the most well-crafted, well-choreographed things I have ever seen brought to film. My friend Sam, his YouTube channel, Film Blogger Sam, he said the same thing. I mean, we were both in lockstep about how this is one of the most beautifully crafted sequences I've ever seen in film. It is amazing. And then I love when you obviously get the detonation of the bomb, please give us that. This isn't an action movie. This is a drama. A long, drawn-out drama. So when there is a moment for everyone to go, oh, wow, that's cool, really give it to us. And Nolan does. He shows us multiple different angles from multiple different perspectives. You get the full force of the sound design. It shook my theater. It was incredible. This sequence is absolutely phenomenal. There's really nothing else to say about the Trinity test sequence. It's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Now, I've been struggling with some of the takes that I've seen online after this movie have come out about who J. Robert Oppenheimer was as a person. And it's well documented now in history that he was a genius. Without him, would we have won World War II? It's debatable at best. Some would just say flat out no, but it is definitely debatable. It's a conversation to have. He had a tricky past because he was very loyal to his friends. He did not want to be a narc. He did not want to sell anybody out. He didn't judge people based off of their political ideologies or where they came from or what they believed in. He wanted to be revered. He wanted to be liked. And his own hubris and his own ego turned him into a pariah and made his life what it became because the government exploited this man to make a bomb to win a war. Now, don't get me wrong. Oppenheimer wanted to do it. He was game for doing it. But as it continued to go along the process, he started to have doubts. He started to question whether what he was doing was the right thing, but he kept bumping up against. And again, guys, all historical. I'm not spoiling anything. This is you just read it on Wikipedia about this individual and World War II in general. But what he kept bumping up against was, if we don't do it, they will. And you might be right. We shouldn't have this kind of power. But I'd rather us have this power than the Nazis have this power. And in the 1940s, that line of thinking, we can debate about, humanitarian reasons and whatnot, and I'm here for it. I really, really am, because I do think the creation of the atomic bomb is what is going to eventually lead to, civilization's destruction. But at the time, that line of thinking was not the wrong line of thinking. It just wasn't. We were in the middle of a war, and the way to look at it was, if we don't do it, they're going to do it. And if they do it, what happens to us? So in an arms race like that, and the fallout from all of that, what it caused and what it created, it was an evil that was bound to come. And I guess we just chose as Americans that we'd rather create that evil ourselves than have somebody else create it and bring it upon us. So that dilemma that Oppenheimer faced, and that we as a nation faced, and we look back on now in retrospect, and there's so many mixed opinions about it, is really, really powerful. And Cillian Murphy really, really sells it in his performance. I mean, it's just, you watch him go from this kind of egotistical womanizer that's on top of the world to someone that cannot bear to live with what he did and what it is eventually going to bring for humanity. And his performance just portrays that beautifully. I mean, it's absolutely perfect. But the thing about it is, Oppenheimer had those second thoughts and then did not want to create the H-bomb. And so because he wasn't willing to go further, because he was starting to have moral quandaries about what they had already done, the government blacklisted him. They ran his name through the mud and vilified him, made him a villain. They used him. He gave them what they wanted. They wanted to go further. And he wasn't comfortable doing that, so they said, you're no longer of use to us. And not only are you no longer of use to us, we're going to destroy your reputation and your future. That's the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer. Now, obviously, this is it's much more multi-layered, and there's much more to it. It's a 3-hour movie. I implore you guys to watch it. It is incredibly historically accurate. I am somebody that is a history is my thing. That's what I plan to do as my longtime career, is be a history teacher, and specifically 1900 to present is my favorite era of history. So I have read and watched so much about World War II. So to see a movie like this come out and it be so accurate and so well done and so well acted and just so haunting, and just have this question permeating throughout it of what have we done? It is deep. It is so much. And for some people, it might not be a question you want to have. I mean, you want to answer. It might not be something you want to think about, because it might send you into an existential crisis. I mean, it really, really might. Because as I said, I genuinely believe that at the time, one country was going to do it. And we decided to be the first ones to do it, so nobody else could do it to us. But in turn, created this arms race that we have today, where World War III will be a nuclear war when and if it ever happens. And I do believe that the civilization as we know it will be racked and destroyed by nuclear warfare one day. So we needed it in 1940. I guess. What it's going to bring? Not fun. So guys, Oppenheimer is the highest of recommends that I can give. This movie is absolutely brilliant from start to finish. Even though most of this movie is talking and dialogue, it is so interesting. There are so many plot threads here, and when you think you know what's coming and you don't know, it's just, there's so much about this movie. This movie is, by definition, a cinematic masterpiece. I would never sell this movie short from that. It is absolutely a masterpiece of a film. I think it's incredibly important for people to see. I think it's incredibly important for you to understand. And historical reasons, and just we as humans. I think this is something that you need to experience, and I implore you to experience it on the best way and on the biggest screen possible. So guys, Oppenheimer is a perfect 5 out of 5 for me. I loved Barbie, but this is another level of film. This is, I mean, I would have to think about it, but it's right there as my favorite Nolan film with The Dark Knight. I mean, honestly, it is that good. This is an all-timer. So please go check out Oppenheimer. Please go check out Barbie. Do the Barbenheimer double feature and spend 6 hours at the theater like I did. And then you can wear silly outfits when you do reviews on YouTube. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like on this video if you haven't already. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought of Oppenheimer. And if you haven't seen it, let me know, talk to me down below. Ask me more questions about it to maybe inform your opinion about whether you should go see it or not. Follow me on social media. All my links are down below in the description. And this is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I am pulling out.